The guy making $180,000 a year is secretly panicking, while the woman making $68,000 a year is completely bulletproof. And by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why, and you're going to figure out which path you are currently walking down. Picture two people. Let's call the first guy Chris. Chris is a sales director pulling in $180,000 a year. He lives in a luxury downtown high-rise. He drives a leased Audi SUV, wears a $700 smartwatch, and spends $25 on gourmet chopped salads for lunch every single day. If you look at Chris's Instagram, he is winning at capitalism. But here is the brutal truth behind the curtain. Chris's checking account dips below $400 every single month right before payday. He is carrying $14,000 in credit card debt across 3 different cards, and he finances his vacations. When Chris looks at his bank app, his chest gets tight. He is making nearly $200,000 a year, but he is terrified of a $1,000 unexpected dental bill. Now, picture the second person. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah makes $68,000 a year working in HR. She drives a 2016 Mazda with a tiny dent in the bumper. She brings leftovers to work in glass Tupperware. She doesn't care about having the newest iPhone. She just wants a battery that lasts until 8 p.m. But here is Sarah's financial reality. She has a net worth of $145,000. She has a completely funded 6-month emergency vault. She carries 0 consumer debt, and she hasn't lost a single minute of sleep over money in 5 years. Chris earns almost 3 times what Sarah makes, but mathematically, Sarah is infinitely wealthier. How does that happen? It's not because Sarah lives a miserable, deprived life eating ramen noodles in the dark. She still travels, she still goes out with friends, and she enjoys her life. The difference has almost nothing to do with their salaries. The gap between Chris and Sarah exists because Sarah quietly follows a handful of strict, invisible rules that protect her from the complex money traps hollowing out everyone else's bank accounts. My name's Matt, and I spend way too much time thinking about money and human psychology. If you're someone who is earning decent money but still feels like you're just one unexpected expense away from a total disaster, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Today, we're going through the core minimalist money rules that separate people who are always financially stable from people who are always almost there, regardless of what they earn. No budget spreadsheets with 30 color-coded tabs, no give-up-your-morning coffee nonsense, just the actual rules, the brutal math behind them, and the psychological systems that make them stick. Let's start with the physical evidence of a broken financial system: clutter. Here's the thing. Your spending habits are a direct reflection of your internal state. When you feel out of control at work or in life, buying things is a way to assert control. It's a quick, easy dopamine hit. But every physical item you bring into your house carries a hidden tax. I call it the maintenance tax. If you buy a boat, you don't just pay for the boat. You pay for the slip, the gas, the repairs, the insurance, and the mental bandwidth of worrying about the boat. But this applies to the small stuff too. If you buy a new, complicated espresso machine, it takes up counter space. You have to clean it, you have to buy specific pods for it. It owns a tiny piece of your brain. Rule number 1 is the one in, one out rule. If you are going to bring a new, non-essential item into your life, an old one must leave. If you want to buy a new $80 jacket, you must sell, donate, or throw away an old piece of clothing. If you want to sign up for a new $18 a month streaming service, you must cancel an existing one. Why does this work? Because it forces friction. Marketers have spent billions of dollars removing friction from buying. Amazon one-click, Apple Pay. They want the time between the impulse and the purchase to be 0 milliseconds. The one in, one out rule puts a speed bump in front of your dopamine receptors. It forces you to ask, do I actually want this new thing enough to get rid of something I already own? Most of the time, the answer is no. You don't want the item, you just wanted the thrill of hitting purchase. By enforcing this minimalist boundary, you naturally cap your lifestyle inflation and stop the bleeding. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Matt, I'll stop buying junk, but I still have to budget, and I hate budgeting. Good, because traditional budgeting, tracking every single latte, categorizing your life into 15 different rows on an Excel sheet, is miserable. It requires a massive amount of willpower, and willpower is a finite resource. By Thursday night, after dealing with your micromanaging boss and sitting in traffic, your willpower is gone, and that's exactly when you order the $40 Uber Eats. Rule number 2, automate the baseline. Minimalist money management isn't about tracking every penny, it's about controlling the flow of water before it ever reaches the bucket. Here is the exact setup you need. It takes about an hour to do, and then you never have to think about it again. You need 3 accounts: the hub, checking, where your paycheck lands; the vault, high-yield savings. This is at a completely different bank. It should take 2 to 3 days to transfer money out of it; and the engine, your 401k, IRA, or brokerage. When your paycheck hits the hub on Friday, you do not wait to see what's left at the end of the month. You automate the outgoing flow immediately. Your payroll or your bank should be set up so that automatically, on payday, 10% or whatever you can afford goes straight to the vault. 10% goes straight to the engine. You never see that money. It never sits in your checking account tempting you. You don't have to make a conscious decision to save. The system does it for you. What's left in the hub is your operating budget. That covers your rent, your groceries, your gas, and your fun. If the hub is empty, you stay home and eat pasta. No spreadsheets, no guilt, no categorizing. Just brutal, automated efficiency. You put your wealth building on autopilot so your brain can focus on actually living. Let's talk about the psychology of the impulse buy. Marketing analysts estimate that the average American is exposed to somewhere between 4,000 and 10,000 ads per day. Your brain is constantly under siege by highly engineered algorithms designed to make you feel inadequate unless you buy their product. It's an unfair fight. You are bringing a knife to a drone strike. You need a hard rule to protect yourself from your own impulses. Rule number 3, the sleep on it multiplier. Here's the math. For every $100 an item costs, you must wait 1 day before buying it. If you see a new pair of shoes for $100, you wait 24 hours. If you see a new smartwatch for $400, you wait 4 days. If you want to buy a $3,000 mountain bike, you wait 30 days. This is where it gets really interesting. When you see that $400 smartwatch, your brain gets flooded with dopamine. You imagine how organized you'll be, how fit you'll get. Your emotional brain is screaming, buy it. But your logical brain, the prefrontal cortex, needs time to catch up. By forcing a 4-day waiting period, you allow the dopamine to clear out of your system. You allow the emotional fog to lift. On day 4, you look at that smartwatch again, and usually the magic is gone. You realize your old watch works fine. You realize you'd rather have that $400 sitting in your vault account, earning a 4.5% yield and buying you a tiny piece of financial freedom. You didn't use willpower to say no. You just used time to let the illusion fade. We can't talk about minimalist finance without talking about the heaviest, most complicated thing you can carry: debt. Look, I know debt has been normalized, but the Federal Reserve data is terrifying. The average American household now carries over $8,700 in credit card debt. We treat debt like it's just a math problem, an interest rate, a monthly minimum. It's not. Debt is a psychological weight. It is a leash. When you owe someone money, they own a piece of your future labor. When you finance a $40,000 car over 7 years, you are legally binding your future self to continue working, regardless of whether you hate your job, your boss, or your commute. You cannot quit. You are trapped. A minimalist financial life requires you to violently reject consumer debt. Rule number 4. Zero tolerance for consumer debt. If you cannot pay cash for it, you cannot afford it. I'm not talking about a mortgage. I'm talking about cars, furniture, vacations, and clothes. Let's look at the brutal math. Let's say you have that average $8,700 in credit card debt. Because interest rates have stayed higher for longer, the average credit card interest rate is now hovering around a punishing 23%. If you just make a $250 minimum payment every month, it will take you almost 5 years to pay that off. But the scary part, you will pay over $5,200 in pure interest. You are paying a bank $5,200 for the privilege of buying things you couldn't afford 5 years ago, things that are probably sitting in a closet or a landfill right now. To be financially stable, you must view high-interest debt as a blazing fire in your living room. You drop everything else and you put it out. You stop investing, other than an employer match. You stop eating out. You sell the clutter we talked about in rule number 1. You attack that debt with intense, singular focus until it is gone. Because being debt-free is the ultimate minimalist flex. It makes your monthly nut, the amount you need to survive, incredibly small. And when your survival number is small, your stress disappears. Here's what most people don't realize about the pursuit of wealth. It has no natural stopping point. Society tells us that more is always better. More square footage, more horsepower, more Michelin stars. But this leads to a phenomenon called hedonic adaptation. It's the hedonic treadmill. You get a raise, you buy a nicer car. For a month, you feel great. Then your brain adapts. The nice car just becomes your car. So you need another raise to buy an even nicer car to get that feeling back. You run faster and faster, but you never actually get anywhere. You just get tired. Rule number 5, define your enough. You have to sit down, ideally with a piece of paper, and define what a good life actually looks like for you. Not for Instagram, not for your parents, for you. Does a good life require a 3,000 square foot house, or would a comfortable 1,500 square foot apartment and the freedom to travel twice a year make you happier? Does a good life require a brand new luxury SUV, or would a paid-off, reliable 8-year-old Toyota and zero financial anxiety make you happier? Once you clearly define your enough, you create a finish line. If you know that your ideal, comfortable life costs $5,000 a month to maintain, then any money you make above that $5,000 doesn't need to go toward lifestyle upgrades. It can go entirely toward buying back your time. You stop inflating your lifestyle. You cap your expenses. When you cap your expenses, your savings rate explodes. And when your savings rate explodes, you buy your freedom decades earlier than the people still running on the treadmill.
Now, you might be thinking, Matt, this sounds boring. If I don't upgrade my car and I don't buy the new gadgets and I put all my money on autopilot, what's the point? Where is the fun? I get it. It sounds restrictive. But I want you to reframe how you think about this. Minimalist money rules aren't about deprivation. They aren't about punishing yourself. They are about clarity. When your financial life is cluttered, when you have 6 credit cards, 3 auto loans, after-pay installments, and a garage full of junk, your mind is cluttered. You are constantly managing the chaos. When you simplify your finances, you eliminate the chaos. Imagine waking up on a Tuesday. Your car makes a weird noise. Instead of that knot of panic in your stomach, you just feel slightly annoyed because you know your vault has $15,000 in it. You know you have 0 credit card debt. You know your lifestyle costs very little to maintain. You take the car to the shop, you pay the $1,200 bill out of the vault, and you go back to living your life. That is the true value of money. It's not about buying a Rolex. It's about buying the ability to not care when things go wrong. Money is a shock absorber. A minimalist financial system ensures that your shock absorber is always fully charged while keeping the vehicle of your life as light and agile as possible. The system wants you to be complicated. The banks want you juggling payments. The retailers want you constantly upgrading because a confused, stressed, over-leveraged consumer is highly profitable. When you choose simplicity, when you automate your savings, cap your lifestyle, and brutally eliminate debt, you are opting out of their game. You take back your power. And listen, if you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck and you are finally serious about changing your financial life, you need to watch this video right here on the screen. It breaks down exactly why everything changes after you save $20,000. I'm Matt.
Thanks for watching.